working for you. He said, I've not left you, I've not abandoned you. I never stop working. Never stop working. He told his disciples, I'm leaving now, but I'm going to prepare a place for you. And where I am, you might be, 'cause I never stop. He said, boys, you're not going to see me for a while. But while you're running and doing your thing, I'm working. I'm not just sitting eating potato chips. Let me tell you what he's doing. Let me tell you. He's opening doors for your favor. He's making a way for you, yeah. You're going to be blessed in the city. You're going to be blessed in the field. You're going to be blessed coming. You're going to be blessed going. He said houses you didn't build, vineyards you didn't plant, 'cause I never stop working. I never stop. Sometimes it feels like you're all alone. Sometimes it feels like you can't phone a friend. He never stops, he never stops, but he never stops. Even in your darkest night he's working. Even when you have tears in your pillow he's working. He never stops, he never stops. Sick room, he never stops. Never stops. He'll be a father to the fatherless. He'll be a mother to the motherless. Bread when you're hungry, water when you're thirsty. He never stops working. Waymaker, miracle worker. People never change. You know how they say once of this, always of that? You know that's not true. But you know, I know a man who doesn't change. If he did it yesterday, he'll do it again. If he did it in the Bible, he can do it again. He's never stopped loving you. He's never stopped providing. Even the air you breathe is a gift. And the food you eat is a gift. 'Cause he never stops. He never stops. He never stops. It's your season to be blessed. God gave you a promise. It's your season. You can have what God said you can have. You can do what God said you would do. It's your season. It's your season. It's your season. I think that's the longest 1 second pause that we had so far. Hey guys, how are you? Oh my goodness, it's been a long day. How about for you? Type in where you're watching from. Maybe even type in something that you enjoyed about today, something that you did that was fun and exciting. I know you are probably scratching your head now and saying, we didn't know that there were special guests today. But of course, I am the man of surprises. And even though I had it pre planned, I wanted to surprise you. And this is the one and only, our brother, Chris Jaquillard, the one and only, our sister, Lonnie Jaquillard. And what I'd like to say about them is that I told them when people see that you guys are on, I said the views are going to go crazy. But I know people, they probably won't comment and let us know they were eavesdropping over here. But that's all right because as long as God gets the glory and God gets the honor and the positive word gets passed, we don't care. We're not really doing it for the comments. We're not even doing it for the popularity or the views, but we're doing it for those that really have a hunger and a thirst for change, hunger and a thirst for growth, and a hunger and a thirst for a different life. And I think that's what separates one from the other. Brother Chris, today I was talking to someone who I feel like in our culture, um, people want nice things and they want to have nice things. But for some reason, it's almost like people think that wanting nice things is a virtue or wanting nice things makes you special. It's like, I was born to live in a beautiful home. Oh, I deserve the best car. But to want something and to have desire for nice things, that's not a virtue. That's not special. Everybody wants nice things. Everybody wants a nice life. Everybody wants to drive a nice car. Everybody wants. And so just because you feel like you deserve it doesn't actually mean that it's going to happen for you or that it's going to come for you. So instead of thinking that wanting nice things is a virtue, I think we've got to be willing to put the hard work, make the sacrifices, the blood, sweat, and the tears, or even the education, learn what are some things that you can do so that you can have the things that you want. But ultimately, to obtain things, you're going to have to do more than want them. And I don't think people necessarily ever leave the want realm and to the actual possessing realm or manifesting realm or actually living in it, the reality. It never goes into reality because it's just a want. But I just thought I'd start with that because you're a man and Lonnie's a woman. You are definitely a power couple in our city. But the thing about it is, you guys don't necessarily post all your wins. As a matter of fact, I'm thinking now in my memory journal, I don't think I ever see you guys post a win. Um, I don't think I've seen you guys post a win. But because I go to lunch with you guys and dinner and you guys come over and you guys are not just awesome, fabulous members of our church, but you're friends to me and to Alicia, um, which she was supposed to, yeah, your family. Yeah. But, she was supposed to be in here. I forgot about that. Uh, but you guys, you don't post all your wins. You don't share all of your business. And it's so weird because we live in a world that it's almost like people feel like if they don't share their breakfast, lunch, and dinner, it's almost like, I don't know, that it wasn't enjoyable. But neither one of you came from where you are today. Neither one of you were born to parents that handed it all to you or with the silver spoons in your mouth, that type of situation. And what you guys have done is now created generational wealth so that your future generations don't have to start at ground zero where you guys did. But the thing I love the most is I never hear you guys complain about it. It's never like, oh, if only. It's always, this is what we have done. This is how we've done it. And so, um, in my friendship with you and with the both of you, in my friendship with you guys, I've just gleaned a lot of the principles that you guys have shared with me, and I really appreciate it. Um, But I love the principles because I think it's the principles that you followed that have caused you both to succeed in so many businesses and business ventures. I like to call Brother Jesse a serial entrepreneur, and I think you guys are serial entrepreneurs as well, to where you guys know how to start something and stick it out and see it succeed and see it to the end. So, what I want to ask you, Brother Chris, is in this world, you know so many people. You came from the north end of Toledo, and you know you love your north end, all of that good stuff. But what are some principles? What are some things that you practice on a daily basis that help you to achieve some of the wins that you achieve? What are some of those principles? I know one of them was every single win counts. You don't always just go for the big win. You told me that one time. You don't just go share with me that one real quick.
So first and foremost, I'd like to thank you for inviting me and my wife out to this
Thank you.
podcast.
Yeah.
We I know social media is a good platform to move your ideas to. Me, I like to move in silence. People have no clue what's going on and what we're actually doing. Um, but I am from the north end of Toledo, born and raised, Stickney and Oakland. Times were never good. I remember growing up in the inner city, being on welfare, being in line, getting block
Selling
cheese, powdered milk, maybe Colts for kids, and they were handing out shoes and all that. And I'd always look around to see if any of my friends would see me receiving this stuff. Very embarrassing at that time. And I knew during those times that I wanted so much more in life. And during that time, when it comes to your work ethic, you just can't make excuses. I tell my children that now. I'm up at 5 in the morning. I'm in the gym at 5:30, and it's all about structure. When I say that, I mean I had a logistic company for over 20 years, and we just sold it about 4 or 5 years ago, and we started doing real estate. And I just can't find an excuse not to miss work, not to get up in the morning to go work out. It's just built inside me.
And even
Just
though he doesn't have to, you still put
and
that
my
in our
wife
heads.
reminds me all the time, Chris, you own this business. You're doing very good. Still, I still don't think I am. Regardless how many properties we've already achieved, how many we've flipped, how many we've rented and lease option and all that. I always like to give all the glory to God, stay humble about everything we do, and confide in close friends and tell them our situations and if we can help in any matter. Um, but again, this is what it takes. It takes the grind. It takes no excuses. It just get up and do it. You don't have to advertise it. You just do it, and then later that will show. So if you're out here maybe advertising on a podcast, and I like to say maybe being internet famous, which is not a bad thing. You have so much to there's so much to be accounted for. Where with me, I'm not too much on the internet. I don't know much about it, but I move in silence, and I do think I do pretty good at what I do.
Well, it's almost like um are when how many likes are you going to have to get to even be able to feed your family? I mean, what do you really gain from that? What do you really gain from a like? What do you really gain from and it's not that we don't want likes. We're not talking about that, but we're saying that the society has become so obsessed with I think they call it social media credit. It's almost like,
Mhm.
what's your social media credit score? And it's almost like, okay, but what house is social media credit score going to put me in? What college is that going to provide for my children?
Correct. And that's a good point. I mean, I think that's more public influence that they're getting acknowledged. People know me. That doesn't move me
Yeah.
because at the end of the day, I need to pay my bills, take care of my family, and do all this. A lot of people are, that's what they care about.
Mhm.
I'm not that person. I'm 50 years old, and it is what it is. You know what you got to do. You just can't make excuses and go on the social media platform and and I don't get me wrong. I mean, I listen to some of these people, and it sounds good. It's good, positive vibes coming through, but that's just not me. I'm
You just
very
one of your philosophy is you're not a talker, you're a doer.
Yeah, I'm not a talker, I'm a
That's
doer.
what we
Bottom line,
in our house.
I
We
tell
don't
these
talk.
guys, I'm from the show me state, Louisiana. You got to show me. And that's the bottom line. You got to show me. Because, again, the people that do know me, they know what I'm about. I don't have to talk it, I do it.
Yeah.
So hopefully that helps. And
I love that. That's good. Lonnie, tell me a little bit about your philosophy. You had businesses as well. You've been on television. I mean, you've done so much, and you've even given me a facial once or twice. I like that. Thank you very much. We got to do that again. Um, but just tell me about some of your philosophies from where you grew up to, some of the decisions that you make so that you could experience the success that you desired for your life, because it's not about success that you're pushing it on others. It's just what you want for your life.
Right.
It doesn't make anybody bad. It doesn't make anyone else less of a person, less, but it's just what you want.
I guess I just kind of similar to him. I just wanted more. I mean, I wasn't always focused like he was, and I always tell him that he's a very strong-minded and very structured person. I wasn't always like that. I had to,
What was your turning point?
after I had children, you know what I mean? I just once you have children, it's no longer about yourself, it's about your kids, and you just want them to have a better life than you did. And actually, I mean, I didn't do bad but when as I got older, I started wanting more, and I opened up a business, skincare business, and that was doing well. But I'm more focused. I started to focus more on my kids. I wanted them to be successful, and that's where we're at in life, is just to make sure that our kids are well. I don't know. I guess as a mother, you feel like if your kids succeed in life, then you feel like you succeeded. And that's where we're at, both of us. I mean, we're so focused on our children and making sure that well, they didn't have a life that we had.
right.
Not that ours was bad, but
You wanted more.
yeah.
We
And
wanted more, yeah.
we wanted to break that generational curse.
And
like
I
you
think
said.
with me, I don't give my wife enough credit, taking on the kids' responsibilities, doing everything for them, doctor's appointments, college, schooling. I'm so busy into working. So there's two parts of that being married. One person has to provide, and the other person has to, take care of the children, the house, and all that stuff. So, it's just been a blessing. The Lord has blessed me with this girl, and we just have the same traits. She's from the inner city of the east side. I'm from the north end, and the Lord has blessed us so much, and I
Not
give
just
all the glory to
financial,
the God.
but I mean, it took us a long time to get to where we're at.
Yeah.
But we believed.
But yeah, we believed in it, and I've learned a lot from this man. I mean, I have to give all the glory to God, but for him, I learned like no excuses. You got it. It's not the size of the dog; it's what's in the dog. And he has so many different philosophies. I think if you asked our kids, they probably have like 10. You know what I mean? That
Give us
he's
some.
taught.
What are some other ones you got? It's not the size of the dog. It's what's in the
It's
dog.
what's in the dog. If it's to be, it's up to me.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
What else is there? I mean,
He
and
he sends
Oh
me
wait.
those sometimes too.
Well, this is kind of like he always says, keep your head on a swivel. You always have to be like,
always keep your head on a swivel in your atmosphere wherever you're at. You don't know what to expect. Be prepared.
yeah,
Always be alert of things. And again, we learned this at a young age. So, we just grew up and we just took that. Football was my life. I played high school and college football, and the people that know me, that was my life. I wanted to go to the NFL. The Lord didn't do that. So there was life after football, and
When you first started coming to the church, my stepfather Ray Arcee, he said, "You've got Chris Jaquillard goes to the church. What? What?" I remember when he was in high school and he was in the newspaper, and man, he was such a great football player. I'm like, you are a fan, Ray. And still to today, he doesn't call you Chris, he calls you Chris Jaquillard.
yeah,
It's always
I
Chris
noticed that.
Jaquillard.
Yeah, when I talked to him, yeah,
Because in his mind, he still remembers that. And he said, I was always rooting for him. And that is something that is awesome, that you've had people rooting for you, but not rooting for you because you just sat on your laurels, but rooting because you have succeeded, you were doing great, you were doing something. And I think that's what people need to understand. Everybody wants an applause, but are you doing something to get the applause?
Right.
Are you doing, you want the pat on the back, but what did you do? What fruit are you bearing?
Hmm.
Jesus said, any tree that doesn't bear fruit, cut them down. And so I think life is about being fruitful, and it's not to be greedy. You guys have said it uh, already. It's for our children. You have to find a purpose greater than yourself. You've got to find a reason that's greater than yourself, because self is just not going to cut it.
It's not going to cut it.
Because you might be able to quit on you, but you can't quit on your kids. You can't quit on the future of your children. You can't quit on the future of your community. You can't quit on the future of your great grandchildren and the generations of people that are looking to you as a role model.
Absolutely. I
And one
truly
thing,
believe in that.
and one thing that I've learned as a woman, because I'm very well taken care of, and I thank the Lord in Him. But I wanted to do something for myself to make
Sure.
me feel better about myself. But not only that, to leave a legacy as well for my children, for our children. I have a tendency of saying
She
my
does
children,
tend to do that. But
but so it made me feel good, and he's taught me a lot too about real estate and investing and flipping. So I mean, I'm not like where he's at, but I do it because it makes me feel good, and I feel like I'm bringing something to the table, and also to leave for our children as well.
with that being said, you know, it didn't happen overnight. A lot of these kids today, they think, through social media and other platforms, that you can do this overnight. This took a long time to process. I had a logistic company over 20 years, and I take pride in this. I tell people, people can talk, but I did. Once again, I did this for 20 years, and I never missed a day of work. So when people get sick, it was always after work, and that's the truth. And through that 20 years, we ended up selling the business, and then started putting, because money makes money, you start putting into real estate, and start getting fed. But oh, my point was that I just don't want to hand that over to my children. That's why I want to. My son's a junior in college now.
Mhm.
He transferred from Findlay to Toledo, and he's taking up business. I want him to try to figure out on his own, but he still has this little egg that I got for him and my children, that we worked so hard and
Yeah.
diligently for. Um, Again, but they're just great kids. Sometimes I just pop a smile, because we were just on our way here, and we said, "Man, we are blessed because we have some really good kids."
I
And
mean, they're not perfect. They may fall because
they
obviously
do.
they live in the flesh world,
We live in the flesh world, right?
but our son, he's just for his age, he's just I don't know. He's a good he's a how do you say it? A gentleman,
He's a
not like
gentleman.
his dad was at
That
his
not like
age.
my, yeah, right, right. So we have so much to be thankful for.
We
So
do.
much.
What's a piece of advice that you'd give a young entrepreneur that's watching, that wants to? I mean, you got so much entrepreneurship now. So you got, people are able to have mobile food stands. You've got restaurants. You've got real estate. You've got people opening up tire shops and car lots. And I mean, the entrepreneurship world is just never ending of what you can do to create money. I like what, I think I was on the Shark Tank. They said, if you want to make money, find out what the need is. And if you can provide a need, you'll always have money. Anytime, but you have to figure out what is a need, right? And if you figure out what the need is, you'll always have a customer. I think that's why people love restaurants so much, and people start restaurants, because we're always hungry three times a
Yes.
day.
Yes. And I used to say, always try to find the niche in the market and capitalize on that. So when I started my ambulette company, we went above and beyond. We worked with elderly and disabled populations. So with my brother being disabled, he has cerebral palsy. um, we would go the extra mile. So we'd put on shoes, put on socks. We knew this would take longer and it would delay pickups and drop offs. But they're people too, they need the same respect that we get. So my heart was really involved in that business. And the advice that I would give to a young entrepreneur, I give free advice. Not only that, you just can't make an excuse.
Yes.
No excuses, period. You could convince yourself in a mirror that this is why I don't go to work, or this is that. I just don't make them excuses. I can't find them excuses. We
No.
have enough time in the day. Like I told my son, we're up at 5 in the morning. You get so much accomplished. I think I told you about this. From 5 in the morning to like 7 o'clock, you're working out. Then you're going to a dentist appointment. I had this morning at 7:30,
Went in his sweat.
and then yeah, and I was soaking wet. I told my dentist, "Hey, I'm soaking wet." So he goes, "That's okay, Chris. Sit down." Got my teeth cleaned, came home, took a shower, and went right to work. I need structure in my life. When I sold my business, I'm thinking, okay, maybe I can just retire, take it easy. That's not the case. I just need the structure. I need to be doing things. And there's so many things in life, from being spiritual to finances to relationships, raising your kids. And I'm just trying to do it all in a good manner. And life is too short.
What's something, Lonnie, that would be one thing that turns you off about the young entrepreneur or the young person that's trying to make their way? What's like a turnoff that you see in the current climate?
Um,
If you can't think of one, and
somebody,
Chris can, he can jump in and
Get
then we
rich
can go.
quick.
yeah,
Get rich quick.
Get
That's
rich
a turn
quick.
off.
Don't you agree?
yeah, and then you got these people that they talk a lot, and usually the talkers,
They do the least.
yes,
They do the least.
That's in everything, isn't it?
yeah. So I mean, I don't know. I would say, because we come across a lot of people, because a lot of people know him in real estate. A lot of people want his business, and which is fine, but I tell him, you got to know how to weed them out. You know what I mean? Because time is of the essence. I mean, we value our time. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So I think that's the most. I wouldn't want to say irritating, but
Lonnie's my gatekeeper.
yes,
So, and sometimes you got to have a gatekeeper in life.
Everybody does, yeah.
I have a good
Alicia's
heart.
yours.
Yeah, that's true. I have a good heart, and a lot of people take advantage of
Yeah.
that. And Lonnie kind of weeds through some people and kind of find them who the real people or who they're not. I'm just so glad that we are part of this Compassion Church too. I just
Amen.
want to let you know, because
Thank you. We
we've
love
come
you.
across some good people, some wholesome people, and I think that's what we've been looking for a
Right.
while in life, right?
Yeah.
Well, I keep telling people that, I see so many people saying on Facebook, nobody supports that are trying to do different things. But a church is such a strong community of support that you're 5 steps ahead of the game. My grandmother, when she came to Ohio, it was in 1969. I think it was 1969. That's the year Mother Housel got saved. In 1969, my grandmother and grandfather came to Ohio. My grandma worked as a social worker in the nursing homes, and there was a lady that had a tall bun, and she was the rudest, meanest lady. Got my grandmother fired. Um, Several years later, in about 91, my grandparents ended up going to a small Pentecostal church, and there was that lady on the front row. She was the former pastor's wife. And she thought, oh my goodness, there's the lady that got me fired, was mean to me, all of the above. She always tells this story. She said, I wish she could have been more humble and kind and loving, because if I needed Jesus in 1969, and it took me till 1991 to find him. And now she loved the church, she loved everybody in it. But that lady had the ability to invite her to a community where she wouldn't have the shell shock, the
Hmm.
culture shock of from moving from Laredo, Texas to Ohio, not knowing how to speak English very well. They didn't have Mexican aisles in the grocery store, all of that. The church is such a great community, and I really thank God for Compassion too, because everyone's heart is so open.
I will say this church is a good community,
Yeah.
because not all churches are like that. I mean,
Yeah.
in my experience,
We're not
there's
naming anybody.
right,
Right.
no names, but this church is definitely that place. And I'm not just putting a plug out there, but no, I mean, you got my husband to be my husband. No, the Lord did, first of all, but he always got fed here. He always told me, I'm just not getting fed there. I'm just not getting fed here. But
So
he,
we did have our differences.
yes,
My wife may have not been getting fed, but I said, you can choose where you like to go, but I got to come here.
yeah,
And at that time, it was Vita. it was very different me going to church alone and her going to an opposite church, but
We
we
never went
figured
to
it
an
out. The
opposite
Lord,
church.
the Lord did it, and we, put us together, and now we're at the same church, and we're very happy about it.
Right. Right.
Ooh,
But
this is so funny.
on that note, you were asking
Yeah, what are
community
terms?
support.
Oh, community support. Yeah.
So what with that too? I mean, because you were saying people say they don't get enough support.
Yeah, they're always saying, "Oh, nobody supports, nobody supports, nobody supports." But I feel like if you join a community of people, of good people, not every, but there are some other great churches and other great communities, and it's not just churches, but it's social gatherings. That's why people want to be part of country clubs. That's why they want to be a
Right.
part of different. It's a community, a YMCA, something. I mean, belonging to a group of people that can aid and help and push and you can network. I think your brother Adam, he's in some kind of networking group,
BMI.
BMI, and they're
Yes.
always referring each other. Adam already, we got internet from Buckeye. We got, then he referred me to his mortgage lady. Then yesterday, the finance, Northwestern Mutual people were here creating a retirement account. I mean, he's just connected me to all these people that he's connected to. But that's how the world is supposed to work.
Right.
And so if you're not receiving support, the way I'm looking at it, you're probably not connected to anything but yourself.
Right.
Right. I agree.
Mm-hmm.
I agree. We've got, through this church, we've been connected through a lot of people and good people. Again, I concentrate on wholesome people, real people. Through my life, I've had some bad experiences with people, and there's just a good group here. If you haven't tried this church, come and try it. I mean, I
Oh
don't think
man.
you'll be disappointed.
But
Amen.
too, I think we talked too the other day about social media platforms, and I'm not against it. I'm all for it, but I get a little confused sometimes when people say they don't support. Maybe it's because too they're not consistent on what they do.
Sure.
You know what I mean? So I'm kind of like, okay, 1 minute they're talking about this. So what is your um what are you trying to gain, or what are
Your
you
That's good.
goals,
your
yeah,
goals?
That's good. Yeah, I think we were
your
talking about that.
objectives.
Yes.
We were talking about that the other day about how people don't specialize and they're not necessarily working from a place of passion, but from a place of monetization.
Right.
What can I do to get the most likes? What can I do to make the most money? What can I do rather than from a place of passion? And I think your finances are in the place of your passion. So, like when people come to me and say, there's a lot of money for the church if the church does this. But the problem is, if that doesn't go with the mission and the vision of the church, it doesn't matter how much money is in it, it will kill us, it will tire us out, we'll fail because we don't have the passion to do it. And I think we have to leave a place of it's a good idea to it's a God idea. It's
Mm-hmm.
just, it's a way to make money to I'm passionate about it. Because at the end of the day, if you can do things you're passionate about, if you make $1 million or $1, if you're passionate about it, you feel the reward, you feel the success, you feel the satisfaction. And that's really what is important. But
The finance is secondary.
it's secondary.
It's secondary.
It's
Yeah.
because it's provision. Provision means finances, but pro means for, and vision is the goal, the purpose, the mission. So provision. Money comes for the vision. The money comes for the vision.
Right.
So if there is no vision, there's no finances. If there's no vision, there's no future. And here's the problem. You've got people that their vision is everywhere. And that's what you're saying. Their vision's everywhere.
Everywhere.
They want to be everything. But you have to kind of really specialize in what you want to do and who you want to be and do it even when nobody's watching. Do it when even nobody cares.
That's what's key right
I've
there.
met some authentic people like Bishop Iona Locke. When Bishop I got into Bishop Locke's life, she was probably, even though she was a female, she was probably the most real bishop I ever got to meet. Her Suburban had a red carpet in it that did not go with the car. She went and got carpet and had them place red carpet. She would have her bishop's shoes, her bishop's hats,
Wow.
and she was
She was
a
passionate
bishop,
about it.
and nobody had to be watching.
Right.
It wasn't for anybody. That's who she was. And honestly, I think that's why stopped wearing a suit and tie every day, because I thought that a suit and tie meant I was dressing like a pastor, and then I realized it's not something I put on. It's something I just am.
Hmm.
You are
I
right.
just am. Either I am an influencer or I'm not. If you can't influence, you know, two people, you're not going to influence 2 million people. If you can't pay two bills on time, you're not going to pay 20 bills on time. If you can't show up to a 9 to 5, you're not ever going to be so motivated that you are working your own business even when you're sick.
Yeah.
That's why I don't stop pastoring. That's why people give me so many ideas of how to do side jobs and this money here and this there. I can't do it. This is my passion. And I have lived so long working my passion that I'm here every day.
And you're
You're
good
here.
at it.
I'm here every
And
day.
you're
And I can be
very
here
good
all
at it.
morning. I can be here all night. I can do podcasts. And today, just tonight, we had our board met. Then we had praise and worship practice. Then I got to eat something. Then now we're here. And that's just from 6 o'clock to now. And so, but I could keep going. And because it's my passion.
Right.
And I think that even if you're working a job you don't like, if you be faithful in that and show up at work to work happy, and you have to treat the place that you're working, maybe you want to be an entrepreneur, but you have to treat the place like you're working as if you own it. If you're showing up late all the time, uh, how would you enjoy being the owner and you're the employee?
Right.
If you want to be a pastor and have a church, well, you have to be a member as if you're already the pastor, meaning you want to be the best member you can be. You have to be the best employee you can be. You want to be the best you can be, because if it ever does get to be your turn, you're going to reap all of those things you've sown, and you're not going to like it. And then you're going to say, now I know what it's like. But it'll be too late.
Amen. Bullseye. This is why I like the bishop. He sums it up so good. I mean, this is what I'm thinking. This is how I perform every day, but maybe can't put in those types of words. But that's what I'm talking about. If you're passionate about something, it equates to something you might want.
Yeah.
But at that point of time, you're just so concerned about being passionate, running the business or whatever you're doing, you don't care what it is.
Mm.
So you may be getting rewarded after 20 years or 10 years.
Mhm.
I love this bishop. I love this
Thank you.
bishop.
Love you.
I really do. I mean,
And people think that we've always gotten paid, or that we've always had a salary. I remember when there was weeks we didn't know what we were going to get, but we were still in church, we were still singing, we were still doing lives.
yes,
When
yes.
Trevor had to have the phone to do Facebook Live like this,
Right.
and now we got Zach with the laptop and a Canon and a little mixing board and all this sitting in my office and microphones. I mean, we didn't have all of that, but we didn't care because we knew it was our passion. And God just kept opening the door and
Mhm.
open. And that's what He's
Yeah.
done for you guys. He just
He
keeps
has.
opening it and opening it and opening it. And so, but you have hard days.
Oh yeah.
We do have hard days.
You
We
have
have
bad
hard days.
moments. You have difficult things that happen.
And we get tested daily.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, we still have that passion and, we look forward to the challenges.
Yeah.
It'd be a boring life not to have those obstacles and all those failures that we had in life. I wouldn't be who I am today if it wasn't all those failures. And let me tell you, people who know me, they know the failures that I went through. It just made me a stronger person. It made me just
And having
not.
God be the center of it all, you know how to deal with it. You know what I mean?
That's true. And I got to tell you, I've been thinking about this. Even in high school, when I was a running back, I was a two-time Mr. Ohio. After I'd score a touchdown, I'd get on bended knee and give glory to God. I don't know. I mean, I acknowledged that in high school as a freshman. I've always had the Lord, and I get chills right now. I've always had the Lord in my heart.
It just took us a while.
It
to
just
get
took me a
yeah.
minute to get through things.
For sure.
It really did.
But I think what you've always had a passion. Whatever he does, he makes sure, and that's why he said he wants our son to go out there and find his own passion. But he's always had a passion for real estate, and you can always tell that because he's not a talker, he's a doer. No, I'm just saying. But when it comes to real estate, I have to come on. He'll literally talk somebody's head off about it, so
Yeah.
like his face is smiling from ear to ear, just like you when you're preaching. that's what you were here. That's what you were
And it
called
comes
for.
natural for
Yeah,
him.
and it comes from natural for him. Now, when he first was going to sell TLC, well, TLC, um, we he did very well, but he was the most miserable person.
Miserable,
Miserable.
miserable. That company owned me. At one
Yes.
time, I had over 60 employees working 11 different counties. And I wasn't this owner that kicked my feet up on the table saying,
Mhm.
hey, I own this big business. I worked every minute of that business from 7 in the morning to 7 at night. And then we took on a contract through TARPS, and I worked Saturday through Sunday. So I was working Monday through Sunday. Now,
So
don't
people,
get me
so
wrong.
people that want to be an entrepreneur so they can go on vacation and rest and live stress free,
No,
that's not
Yeah, this doesn't
not
that's
in the
happen
beginning.
overnight.
Mm-mm.
But we know there's a light at the end of, at the tunnel, right? And we know the Lord, through the Lord, we're going to get there.
Right.
And that's what it was all about,
Yeah, and that's what I was.
perseverance and working hard and not making excuses to get to this point. Anybody can achieve this. Sometimes I wake up and I'm like, man, I am so blessed. But if I can do it, anybody can do it. I tell my wife, hey, I'm not that smart of a guy. I was at one point, I got recruited by every college in the nation. But there's this test you take to get into college. It's called the ACT and SAT. I could never pass this thing. I'm not a smart guy. But I'll tell you what,
And
the
I always,
Lord, we figured it out.
But he's very smart. I just want you guys to know.
I know,
And
I
he
hate
went
when he
back and
said,
got his bachelor's and from
I
University of
do. That's
Findlay,
where my
and
humbleness. Got a bachelor's in.
and I always say, Chris, you under. He just
he's
says
very
that.
smart.
He
But that's
starts,
okay. But be humble. I like
Be
it.
humble.
I
Be
do that
humble.
too. I do that too.
Doesn't matter where you are in life.
And I
Just
think
be
that's why we
humble
all get
about it.
along,
Yeah.
because when we're together, we're never trying to compete.
I like.
Well, first of all, I'm not even in the races. But anyway, but you
Yes.
know, a lot of people that are not in the races try to compete. That's the
They do.
problem.
That's the problem, right? That's the
Mm-mm.
problem. And I see we see a lot of that too. And we're not people to compare,
That's why I said
because
we
we
got to
have our
run our own
flaws.
race.
It's like when I talked about this last week in the podcast about jealousy, how I was somewhere and they were talking about a car that somebody purchased, and the person said everybody's got one of those cars now. And I looked at Chris. Chris was there, but I'm not going to tell him when or where. But Chris was there, and I looked at Chris. I said, I ain't got one of those cars. He said, neither do I. But people are
That's
so
true.
funny that they can't just say congratulations, good
Yes.
job, I'm happy
Yes.
for you. It's like everybody's got one of those. I'm thinking mine must have got lost in the mail.
Right?
Yes.
Mm-mm.
And I want everybody to succeed, no matter what they're doing. But again, always comes down to that passion. You got to have that passion. If you don't have that passion, you're not going to do nothing. You're not going to do well in life.
But you don't want people to succeed at your cost.
Good
You
point.
want people to succeed because of their blood, sweat, and tears, so
Right.
that they can appreciate it.
And I think that's
Because if you give it to them, they have to thank you. But that's why they need to go and make it work and go and do it, so that they can go to bed at night and say, God, it was just me and you, when
Yeah.
nobody else in this equation, and you helped me, so you get all the glory. But
Absolutely.
I feel like there's people they want to know Chris and Lonnie, so that Chris and Lonnie can show them the ropes, help them do it, spoon feed some deals to them, and then they'll be very successful.
Sure.
But the problem is, if you get spoon fed and never learn how to chew on your own, what are you going to do?
They got to find out themselves, right?
What are you going to do?
Yeah.
And none of us are eternal. None of us, and none of us are going to be able to walk with somebody forever. So you got to learn these ropes and learn these principles and practices for yourself.
I think a lot
Absolutely.
of this younger generation, that's what they I feel like they feel entitled. Even just people, I mean, they're like, "Oh, you spent your money on that? What does it matter what we spent our money on? It's our money." But
Mhm.
when you didn't help me out, or you know what I mean?
Mhm.
And I don't mean that in a disrespectful way.
Entitlement is so strong.
Very strong. And that's one thing I'm not gonna. I love my children, but they're gonna make it on their own. They're gonna do it. I'm not gonna give them. I mean, well, that would be defeating the purpose. They wouldn't feel the same way that if they didn't make it themselves. So I'll give them that, and hopefully they can get to that point. If not, be there to assist them. You know,
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree, and I think we need that set. But entitlement, it's so wicked, because entitlement says I deserve this. And I think the problem with I deserve is that nobody really deserves anything. You can work for something, you can plan for something, you can sacrifice for something, but at the end of the day, it's just all a perfect recipe put together by God, and your hard work and your sacrifice, and it's not something that's deserved. People that work hard know that, but people that don't, that don't labor, that don't sacrifice, that don't, I feel like they've got this entitlement, and it's so strong in our nation. Like, I think people want COVID to be bad again so that they can get another stimulus check.
I agree.
You know what I mean?
I
I think
know.
people are really rooting for it. Like, yeah, I mean, I hear people all the time, it's coming back. Do you want another check? Is that what that is? Because that check is costing us so much right now, inflation wise, that what you made before COVID, it doesn't stretch like it did after COVID. That check wasn't worth it. Like, I wish the government could just let us give our checks back so prices could go back down. I mean, if
Yes.
that's the only thing you need, Biden, you call me and I'll give you my $1,200 back. And Trump, you'll call. If I need you to stay out of prison, and I'll send you your money too that you sent me. Yeah, I need and I because this is crazy.
This is crazy.
The inflation is crazy, and people have this entitlement where because they got this $1,200, maybe it's going to hit again. Maybe we'll get another this. Maybe, but we didn't deserve those $1,200 checks. We didn't earn those $1,200 checks. We got to stop lusting over things we didn't earn, that we don't need. That I'm learning that the hard way, because we're getting ready to buy a house, and as I'm going over all of my financials, I'm thinking I really could have did without that. I really could have did without that. Why? And I'm telling myself I'll never do that again. And then I think, but I probably don't even mean that, because if the opportunity arises, I probably would do the same thing
You're right.
all over again.
We got to learn the hard way.
I learned a lot.
sometimes.
This is another thing I learned from him, is to, even though you have it,
Yeah.
and if you don't need it, because I actually, what was it, a couple years ago, saved my own money, and I don't even work, but um, to buy my own first flip, my own house. But he taught me, because he's very frugal, but I mean, in a good way, because
I think frugal's a good word.
Yeah.
I think
And I
cheap
think
is a
that
bad
comes
word.
from my upbringing, I
Yes.
believe. Just like when we go out to eat, nobody can leave leftovers. I got to make sure I take those home.
Yeah, I remember that one.
I got on the bishop one time. He left these
Yeah.
leftovers, and I said, "Hey, I'm taking them home because I can eat them tomorrow. Next day." And that just comes up from my childhood.
it's gotten bad, Bishop, though, because I can't even. So we go and get Kobe some burgers. Sorry, plain burgers from McDonald's, and so the bread. He's like, no, 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 don't waste that bread. I'm gonna feed it to my birds, or I'm gonna feed
It's
it to
true.
the squirrels.
Everywhere
So-
we go now,
Now-
I don't
so
want to
he
throw
don't-
the food away.
Yeah, so
At
now
the-
it's like I'll feed my birds that, or I'll feed the.
And I don't know
God's
whether
creatures
that's
that.
getting old. You're looking at life differently. Now I look through the windows and I have squirrels out there, and I'm looking at squirrels differently than when I would at 25 years old. I'm looking at the grass, the birds, and the red
Or I'm
red
just thinking you just don't want
cardinals.
to gotten to the point where you just don't want to waste food.
That too. I just don't like wasting food. And again, that's just me as a person. I think everything, you can feed the animals. Why throw it away? I don't know.
But I forgot what was my point. You interrupted.
Well, Bishop will swing back around with that.
Amara is watching.
Hi, Amara. We love you.
Your beautiful daughter, Amara. Brother Jesse's watching.
Hi, brother Jesse.
Miguel's watching. Marilyn, Pastor Lisa, they're watching. God bless you guys. Thanks for commenting.
Thank you.
So we're gonna have to get ready to go. So I want both of you to take. You can take 5 minutes each or less. And give this young people watching, because that's what I'm really gearing this towards, is young people. I feel like some people are too set in their ways and they'll probably never change, and that's okay. Just don't expect different results. right? Because you're doing the same thing and expecting different results. Definition of insanity. So I want each of you to take the next 5 minutes each, or less, and I need you to pep talk. And you can zoom in for them, Zach. Whichever. I think we'll start with Lonnie if she has it, or Chris.
I'll let my husband
All
start
right.
He'll start.
because he's
I
good at
need you to
pep
give
talks.
a pep talk, and you'll look right in the camera. Give a pep
Can I
talk
just
to the
give him
young
the
people
extra
watching.
five?
Yeah.
Give him my extra 5 minutes.
Oh, sure.
Okay.
Yeah. So, am I talking to the youths of today?
Yeah, you're talking to anybody that wants to start a business, anybody that wants to be successful,
How,
anyone
what
that's
it takes
tired
to
of
be.
living in a rut. But it's, we all have something to do with why we're living in a rut.
That's correct.
You know?
So yeah, for the use of today, always remember, keep an open mind on anything you do. We talked a little bit about passion. Make sure what you do, you have a passion for. Everything else will come in time. I'm a true believer in that. When I started my company, a logistic company, started with one vehicle. This was just after I graduated from University of Findlay, and I bought a vehicle that was really rusty. It was a wheelchair van, and I started with one van, built it up like 60 vehicles. And I never made an excuse to not go into work, and worked it every minute of the day. If I can do it, you can do it. Just don't make no excuses. Do hard work, determination, and always remember, surround yourself around positive
Hmm.
people. I put blinders on and I put earplugs in when I started my business. So many people from family, friends would say, Chris, you got a bachelor's degree in this. Why don't you go out west and get a job? Clocking in, clocking out. And I just ignored it and followed through, persevered. And 20 years later, I sell my company and do something. And now I'm getting passive income. Life is good. As I get older, I'm 50 years old now. I just maybe want to take a back seat and not work so much and just enjoy life and everything about life. Just matter of fact, today I went to the cemetery to see my brother and my mother and was out there talking to them. Life is so short. Um, so do what you're supposed to do. My philosophy, I always thinking about YOLO. You only live once. And maybe I do self-sabotage myself in real estate,
No, you
but I do make calculated moves when I purchase these properties because I believe that through God's child, He's gonna make me successful, and He's shown it every day. Um,
with your diligence
through
but
yeah, my
putting him first.
diligence. If you want to tone in, come
No,
on
I
in.
said we always put him first.
We always put the Lord first because we wouldn't be here if it was for Him. No matter what we do, it's the Lord comes first. I thank Him daily. I talk to Him every day. Sometimes, I'll be in my car acknowledging Him, talking to Him, and I'll look over to see if the car's looking at me. But I can't worry about that. I'm focused on the Lord. But this is what I do. And if, like I said, I coming around to it. If I can do it, you can do it. So if you need any type of advice, anyone to talk to, I'm here at Compassion. Come see me.
And I
Amen.
and I want to say, I think, Chris, I've never told you this, and Sister Lonnie, but I think you guys are the real influencers. Like,
Mhm.
really.
Thank you.
And you guys don't have to post something every second, but I think you guys are real influencers because since you guys started coming to the church, your entire family, your dad, your stepmom to be, um, I mean, they come to church because you brought them. Your friend, our brother Darren, um,
Big D.
Big D, he comes to the church, and he was so sweet. Sunday, he came up to me and he went to Alicia too, and he said, I saw you guys are selling all your stuff out of your house. He said, and you're selling your house. He said, don't tell me you're about to move. He said, I finally got me a pastor and got me a good church. Don't tell me you're trying to leave. And I said,
He
no,
was.
no, we're just, the more stuff we sell, the less we have to move. Um, but to me, that's such a testimony. That to me is being an influencer. Lonnie, you've brought all your best friends, Issa, Sandra, others. Um, to me, that's an influencer. To be able to influence someone to Christ, to be able to influence someone to a family that will love them as well. That's not self. That is literally selflessness. And so I think y'all are the
Mm.
influencers
I
and the
appreciate
heroes.
that.
And
I
I love you
appreciate that.
guys, and I appreciate you guys, and um, just looking forward to years of friendship and familyship and ups and ups and ups, and great experiences to come.
Thank you. And like I said, to all my friends and family, that invitation that I that sent to you about compassion is still valid. So make sure you reach out to me and come back to compassion. You will not be disappointed.
And if you do, we'll buy you lunch, but limit 2 tacos.
And you better eat both the tortilla shells, because
Right.
if not, we're going to be feeding the birds. All
Birds.
right.
Yep.
Amen.
I love you guys,
Yep.
and
Love
the
you.
Lord loves you. Thank you for watching and tuning in. Remember, this will be on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify Podcasts and on YouTube, Facebook for years to come. You'll be able to listen to this. God bless you.